How to encourage creativity in your children. Let's talk about why creativity matters so much for our kids. It's not just about art or drawing. Creativity is like a superpower that helps children grow in all sorts of ways. When kids get creative, they learn to solve problems, bounce back from setbacks, and come up with fresh ideas that might just change the world one day. 1, 2, 3. Think about what happens when we give kids the space to explore and try new things. They start to see possibilities where others might see dead ends. Research shows that when we create the right environment, one where kids feel safe to experiment and express themselves, amazing things start to happen. 1, 2, 3. The benefits. They're pretty incredible. Kids who flex their creative muscles tend to become better problem solvers and more flexible thinkers. They learn to express their feelings in healthy ways. 5. And when they work on creative projects with others, they pick up valuable skills like teamwork and learning to see things from different angles. 1. Here's something interesting about parenting styles. The way we interact with our kids can either spark or stifle their creativity. Parents who find that sweet spot between being supportive and setting clear boundaries tend to raise more creative kids. 7, 8. On the flip side, being too strict and controlling can make kids hesitate to think outside the box. 7, 9. Educational approaches like Montessori, which let kids take the lead in their learning, often help develop those creative sparks into bright flames. But let's be real, nurturing creativity isn't always easy. Sometimes we get caught up thinking creativity is something you're born with, or that it's all about being artistic. And many kids and adults worry so much about getting things wrong that they stop taking creative risks altogether. The key is finding that balance, providing guidance while letting kids explore, offering various materials and activities while keeping things open-ended, and helping our children develop both the confidence and skills they'll need in our ever-changing world. 1, 3, 12. Benefits of creativity in children. You know what's fascinating about creativity? It's like a Swiss Army knife for child development. When kids get creative, they're not just having fun, they're building a toolkit that'll help them navigate life's twists and turns. Let's dive into why this matters so much. 1. Cognitive development. Watch a child lost in a creative activity, and you're witnessing their brain making incredible connections. They're not just playing, they're developing problem-solving skills and learning to think in new ways. 1. Remember Piaget's work on cognitive development. He showed us how kids build their understanding of the world by getting hands-on experience and trying things out. 4. Take those precious early years. 0, 2. Babies are like little scientists, learning through their senses and figuring out how things work. Emotional well-being. There's something incredibly powerful about watching a child express themselves creatively. It's not just about making pretty pictures or building with blocks, it's about learning to process and share feelings in healthy ways. When kids dive into creative activities, they're actually building emotional resilience. Think of it as giving them an emotional toolkit they can use throughout their lives. Creating a safe space where kids can experiment and express themselves freely helps build their confidence and emotional maturity in ways that will serve them well into adulthood. Social skills and collaboration. Magic happens when kids create together. Whether they're working on a group art project or putting on a play, they're learning so much more than just artistic skills. 1. They're figuring out how to work as a team, negotiate with others, and appreciate different viewpoints, all crucial life skills. Remember Vygotsky. His research showed us just how important these social interactions are for helping kids grow both cognitively and emotionally, proactive and innovative thinking. When we encourage creativity in kids, we're basically helping them develop a can-do attitude. They learn to take initiative, tackle problems head-on, and understand that they have the power to make things happen. Through creative exploration, they discover that it's okay to take risks and learn from mistakes, essential ingredients for innovation. 5:16. As they experiment with different ideas and materials, they're building critical thinking skills and developing what we call a growth mindset. Theoretical foundations of creativity and child development. Let's dig into the science behind creativity and child development. It's fascinating stuff, really, especially when you look at how different theorists have helped us understand how creativity grows and flourishes in young minds. Piaget's stages of cognitive development. Jean Piaget gave us a remarkable roadmap for understanding how children's thinking develops over time. His theory helps us see why certain types of creative activities work better at different ages. 18.4. Sensorimotor stage, 0 to 2 years. Think about how babies explore the world. Everything goes straight to the mouth, right? That's not just them being babies. It's their way of learning about their world through their senses. This early exploration lays the groundwork for all the creative thinking that comes later. Pre-operational stage, 2 to 7 years. This is when the magic really starts happening. Kids begin using their imagination to represent things in their mind. Ever watched a child turn a cardboard box into a spaceship? That's this stage in action. 2014. Role of parenting styles and creativity. Let's talk about how different parenting approaches can either fan the flames of creativity or accidentally dampen them. It's fascinating to see how the way we interact with our kids can shape their creative development. 28. Authoritative parenting and creativity. Think of authoritative parenting as finding that sweet spot, being supportive while setting clear boundaries. It's like being a good coach. You encourage and guide, but you also have rules that help everyone succeed. Research shows this approach helps kids develop both the freedom to explore and the structure they need to channel their creativity effectively. When kids feel secure but not restricted, they're more likely to take those creative risks that lead to real growth. Role of education in fostering creativity. Let's dive into how education shapes our children's creative journeys. It's amazing how the right educational environment can transform a spark of imagination into a blazing fire of creativity. Montessori education and creativity. You know what's fascinating about the Montessori method? Dr. Maria Montessori saw creativity not as an isolated skill, but as part of the whole child's growth, mind, heart, body, and soul, all working together. In Montessori classrooms, you won't find rigid structures and one-size-fits-all approaches. Instead, you'll see children exploring, experimenting, and learning at their own pace. 1034. The genius of these classrooms lies in their simplicity, neutral backgrounds that make children's creative work stand out like stars in the night sky. 11. Research backs this up, showing how this approach helps kids develop different types of creative thinking. 35. Strategies for encouraging creativity in the classroom. Think about the most engaging teachers you've ever had. Chances are, they asked thought-provoking questions, gave you choices, and encouraged you to express yourself. That's exactly what works in fostering creativity. When teachers make time for reflection and downtime, they're actually giving kids' creative minds room to breathe and grow on. And those group projects that some of us dreaded, they're golden opportunities for kids to learn how to bounce ideas off each other and respect different viewpoints. 112. The role of technology and materials. Here's where things get exciting. Imagine giving kids access to both traditional art supplies and modern tools like 3D printers. It's like opening multiple doors to creativity. 3. But here's the key. It's not just about having the tools. It's about creating spaces where kids feel safe to share their process, discuss their strategies, and yes, even celebrate their failures. Because let's face it, that's where some of the best learning happens. 3.5. Activities and routines to foster creativity. Let's get practical about nurturing creativity in our kids' daily lives. It's not about grand gestures. Sometimes the simplest routines can spark the most creativity. Open-ended activities. Think about giving kids a blank canvas, literally and figuratively. When we provide materials without dictating the outcome, magic happens. 12.11. Process art is a perfect example. It's not about creating a perfect masterpiece, but about exploring, experimenting, and expressing. 26. From traditional art supplies to robotics kits, the key is letting kids lead the way. 3. Encouraging curiosity and wonder. Ever watched a child stare at clouds and point out shapes? That's creativity in its purest form. By encouraging these moments of wonder, we're helping kids develop their creative muscles. Simple activities like cloud watching or sharing what-if stories can spark incredible imaginative journeys. Collaborative projects. There's something special about kids creating together. Whether they're building a story one sentence at a time or working on a group art project, they're learning to weave their ideas with others. 15. When we give kids time to share their works in progress and talk about their creative process, we're building a community of young innovators. The document continues through all remaining sections with this engaging conversational tone while maintaining academic integrity and references. Challenges and misconceptions. Let's bust some myths about creativity in children. You know that old saying, some people are just born creative. Well, that's not quite the whole story. Research shows us that creativity is more like a muscle. It grows stronger with the right kind of exercise and support. 3. One of the biggest hurdles we face is the fear of failure. We've all seen it, that hesitation in a child's eyes when they're afraid of getting it wrong. But here's the thing. Some of the most creative breakthroughs come from what we might consider mistakes. 5.10. And let's talk about parenting styles for a minute. Being too strict with rules and control can actually squash creative thinking. 39.7. It's like trying to grow a garden by constantly pruning. Sometimes you need to let those wild ideas grow a bit before shaping them. Here's another misconception. Creativity isn't just about art class. Sure, drawing and painting are wonderful creative outlets, but creativity shows up everywhere. In how kids solve problems, think critically, and come up with new ideas. 11. And while we're at it, let's address the technology elephant in the room. Yes, those fancy robotics kits and 3D printers are amazing tools, but they're just that, tools. Real creativity needs a mix of high-tech and low-tech, hands-on experiences, and plenty of time for open-ended exploration. The key is finding that sweet spot, providing enough structure to guide without constraining, enough freedom to explore without getting lost, and enough support to build confidence without creating dependency. To build bonus Q as, can you explain how the Montessori educational approach specifically encourages creativity in children, and what key elements of this method are most effective in nurturing creative thinking? The Montessori educational approach is widely recognized for its effectiveness in encouraging creativity in children. This method, developed by Dr. Maria Montessori, is rooted in fostering a child-centered, hands-on learning environment that nurtures independence, self-directed learning, and a growth mindset.